Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Hart.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. As the state faces a number of nursing home closures and healthcare sector layoffs, Fox 61 wanted to take a deeper dive into what's quickly becoming a crisis of long-term care across our state.
Well, Fox 61's Matt Caron discovered the industry is facing increasing financial pressure and lingering headwinds from the COVID pandemic. Matt.
Yeah, that's right. And nobody likes to think about aging, but Father Time is undefeated. And the reality is 1 out of every 3 Connecticut residents will need to spend some time in a skilled nursing facility. These red dots here that you see behind me are all of the nursing homes that have closed across Connecticut since 2021. It's a trend that hasn't slowed down, so we wanted to know why.
An emergency emerging.
Connecticut has the 5th oldest population. So it's concerning that nursing home closures have outpaced the rest of the country. Since 2021, 15 skilled nursing facilities have closed. Just last week, Sheridan Woods and Countryside Manor in Bristol filed for closure, resulting in the elimination of another 236 beds, or 40% of the capacity in Bristol.
There's simply no way to gloss over how significant this news is.
Matt Barrett is the CEO of Connecticut's Nursing Home Association. He's now sounding the alarm on a crisis of care.
There's a real serious question on the horizon about whether or not there are enough nursing home beds now and into the future to meet the care needs of our exploding aging population.
87% of the beds in Connecticut nursing homes are occupied, above the national average. Each closure brings us closer to capacity, stressing the system and the quality of care. A new study found 99% of the nearly 200 nursing homes across the state have at least one deficiency. In October, the feds essentially forced the closure of Abbott Terrace in Waterbury, citing the facility failed to meet minimum health and safety standards. Meanwhile, the industry continues to struggle to recover from the COVID pandemic.
There are definitely trends associated with the public health emergency that continue to show their presence, and facilities are continuing to struggle.
And not just facilities, but companies. Just 2 years ago, Athena Healthcare was the largest nursing home operator in the state. Now, only 6 homes remain. The company told Fox 61 it is evaluating options to support continued operations. Fox 61 obtained the Sheridan Woods and Countryside Manor closure notices filed with the State Department of Social Services. Operator Athena cites a high Medicaid population, staffing challenges, the age of the facilities, and rising operational costs as reasons for closure.
Some buildings are not found to be viable because it's very expensive for other owners to come in. And if they're bought, the owner coming in needs to bring it up to current public health code, which can also be very costly.
More than 50% of the state's nursing homes are more than 50 years old.
I really think we need to have small nursing homes, somewhere between 30 and 60 beds.
Meanwhile, 73% of Connecticut nursing home residents rely on Medicaid. And the reimbursement rates, well, they haven't kept up with inflation.
And if we're using taxpayer dollars, it should be able to be 100% transparent. There shouldn't be anything that we don't see, that we don't know what it's spent on. And profiting off of that is a tough one for me.
Now, state lawmakers tell me they'll be making nursing homes a priority next session with new legislation. As for the 2 Bristol nursing homes we mentioned that are facing closure, DSS said they're in a 10-day cooling off period. They take no action during that time. That'll be followed by a public hearing, and then they have up to 180 days to make a final decision on closure. In the studio, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, thank you, Matt. Well, turning to the weather now, another rainy day, but will it be dry for our Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frayne joining us now with the answer. I think the answer is no on that one, isn't it, Rachel?
Right. We're dry tomorrow, but Thanksgiving itself is looking wet all over again with another round of rain. Some of that will be heavy at times, but tomorrow's that big travel day, right? So we're happy that we're getting through that with dry roads. So you still have to battle the other drivers on the roads, but at least the weather won't make things worse. But I think especially especially if you are heading north this Thanksgiving, northern New England, the Berkshires. I would get to your Thanksgiving destination tomorrow, because while we are experiencing a cold rain here in Connecticut, our friends and neighbors to the north are getting a white Thanksgiving this year. Here's a look at the rain moving on out of here. Temperatures are highly variable this evening. We've got 50s in Fairfield County, where a warm front has stalled, but it's much cooler for much of the rest of the state, in the upper 30s to right around 40 degrees. But we all drop back into the 30s as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're looking at partly cloudy skies. We are wishing you safe travels to your Thanksgiving destination. Temperatures will be up around 50 degrees, and we are dry right into tomorrow evening. It is not until just around or before daybreak on Thursday that rain begins to develop. We'll take a closer look at that. Plus, if you're a skier or snowboarder and heading north for Thanksgiving, you've got to see these snow totals coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, new tonight, one person is dead after a crash in Ellington. State police say a car was speeding on Sandy Beach Road last night when the driver lost control and crashed into a tree. The car then burst into flame. The driver and a passenger were able to escape with minor injuries, but a second passenger died from their injuries. Their identity has not been released. A new report sheds light on just how much money consumers are spending on airline junk fees. The Senate report shows in the past 5 years, U.S. airlines have made more than $12 billion on seat selection fees alone, with customers also getting hit with bills for things like extra legroom or even pillows and blankets. Senator Richard Blumenthal has been an advocate for banning junk fees.
Passengers are rightly angry about all of these junk fees that are preventable, in fact, should be stopped. They are a larger than ever share of revenue for the airline. They now charge for the kinds of things that used to be free.
The Senate Subcommittee on Investigations is scheduled to hold a hearing next week with top officials from the 5 biggest U.S. airlines: American, Delta, United, Frontier, and Spirit.
Tonight, Connecticut teachers say they are burnt out. The Connecticut Education Association released a new survey, and they found 98% of teachers are concerned about the stress they're under.
Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst spoke with CEA leaders, state lawmakers, and local teachers, and has more from the state capitol.
State education leaders say teachers are exhausted, and they're now calling on state lawmakers and the community to step up.
Teachers aren't valued.
Joe Holloway has been teaching for more than 25 years. He gathered with other educators, officials from the Connecticut Education Association, and state lawmakers Tuesday to discuss this new survey of more than 5,000 K-12 Connecticut teachers. This survey shows 98% of teachers are concerned about frustration and burnout. The top issues contributing to that burnout include insufficient pay, challenges with student behavior, and a lack of respect.
The conditions that we provide for our educators are the conditions that we provide for our learners.
The survey shows the number of educators likely to retire or leave the profession early has dropped in the past 2 years from 74% to 62%, but CEA still calls it a major concern.
What most teachers make about 10 years into the career with a master's degree is what many of my non-education peers who I'm about to graduate with in May are going to make in their first job after only a bachelor's.
In terms of solutions, state lawmakers say the legislature has made moves to address these challenges, but more needs to be done next session.
The profession needs to be valued. Our students, the children of our communities, need to be valued, and this is a way that we can show them that we care.
CEA says in Connecticut, salaries for teachers are 25% lower than for other professions with similar education and experience. Legislators want to prioritize alleviating financial burdens for licensure, incentives for recruiting and retaining teachers, and lowering class sizes. But educators say This boils down to funding.
We've made a lot of changes. The one thing that those changes haven't been is financial.
Data is not destiny. It is information that helps us to drive to the future we want. It should not be ignored, but it's not the end of the story, but a step along the journey.
State lawmakers tell me they're already a part of conversations to potentially draft some of these proposals for the upcoming legislative session starting next January. Reporting at the state capitol, Emma Wolforst, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Emma, thank you. State officials are sharing plans to lay former Connecticut Governor M. Jody Rell to rest.
Governor Rell will lay in state at the Connecticut State Capitol 1 week from today from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The public's invited to pay tribute during that time. That afternoon, there will be a massive Christian burial at the Cathedral of St. Joseph in Hartford. At a later date, there will be a private internment ceremony at the Connecticut State Veterans Cemetery. Governor Lamont's office said she'll be buried alongside her husband, Lou, a veteran of the U.S. Navy. We'll have more team coverage at the service to show you how the state's honoring Governor Rell's life and legacy. Developing news this hour, there's a promising diplomatic breakthrough in the Middle East. Just moments ago, President Biden spoke saying a ceasefire has been reached between Israel and Hezbollah.
Effective at 4 a.m. tomorrow local time, the fighting across the Lebanese-Israeli border will end. Will end. This is designed to be a permanent cessation of hostilities.
Israeli troops will withdraw from southern Lebanon over the next 60 days. Hezbollah has promised to not keep control of the region. Hundreds of civilians have been killed in Lebanon since conflict flared up after the October 7th Hamas attacks. And tonight, the president says the next step is ending the war between Israel and Hamas. He says no deal, though, can be reached where Hamas stays in power and where the hostages aren't released.